Chapter 11, Part 2, Benefits of Being an Octopus. During these weeks' ACE period, Miss Rochambeau is going on and on about supporting your position with evidence. Too bad I'm pretty clear on my position already. It's I don't belong in ACE period debate club. And I've got plenty of evidence to back that up. Evidence number 1, hermit crabs in the science classroom. Don't look down on me. The cat drawing girl, whose name is apparently Lydia, is another story. I'm pretty sure she keeps shifting her notebooks away from me. Matt hasn't even noticed I'm here. Evidence number 2, hermit crabs need me because no one deserves to live in a filthy tank. And Lydia and Matt definitely don't need me. Evidence number 3. I stop when I realize Miss Rochambeau is passing out worksheets. I sneak a peek at Lydia and then a super quick one at Matt. Both of them are already starting to read it. Hopefully, this could be like group work during regular classes where the other 2 people do all the talking and my contribution is to not yell or throw up or anything. And look, 20 minutes later, when it's the end of ACE period, my worksheet is throw up free. Victory is mine. And I don't care that Miss Rochambeau raises her eyebrows when she picks up my worksheet and it's blank. I'm here, aren't I? And no one can force me to do more than that. 2 periods later is social studies, and Mrs. Rochambeau is coming around to collect an essay that's due, that I've yet again done a wonderful job of not doing. Zoe, she whispers when she gets to my desk and I don't have anything to turn in. I'd like you to stay after class so we can talk. I don't say a word or even nod, but she walks away like I've agreed to it. Sure enough, when there's just a few minutes left of class and my tentacles start working to gather up my papers, Miss Rochambeau, who has been reading us excerpts from Daniel Webster's, Henry Clay's, and John Calhoun's speeches in Congress about the Compromise of 1850, wanders over to my desk without missing a beat and rests her hand on my notebook. It doesn't matter how many tentacles I have. She's not going to let me pack up my notebook. When the class has been dismissed and I'm still in my seat, Miss Rochambeau finally removes her hand from my desk. Thank you for staying after, Zoe, she says. I didn't exactly have a choice. Miss Rochambeau pulls the neighboring student desk over and sits down in it. Now, she says, her big earrings bouncing off the collar of a different turtleneck sweater. We could talk about how much your grade will suffer if you don't turn in this reflection essay, but instead I want to talk about something else. I want to talk about your participation in debate club. I watch her through my slits of octopus eyes, nice and steady. I want to know why you're not trying. I glance at the clock. And I want to know what kind of person you want to be. I want to be the kind of person that doesn't have to sit here and have this conversation. What's your next class? She asks. Computer tech, I say. So it's all the way down in the other wing, so I'd better leave right now. Great, she says without standing up. That means we have the next 43 minutes to dig into this. I have a prep period right now, and Mr. Roberts would definitely understand why you weren't able to be in class today. I'll be happy to talk to him about it over lunch. It's like my octopus body has gotten trapped in a net, but there has to be an opening somewhere. If I could just stay calm and avoid getting tangled up. Marcy, another teacher, pops her head into the room. Do you have a minute? It's my opening. My tentacles spring to life. And I stand up from my chair. Sit back down, Miss Rochambeau says to me. To the other teacher, she says, sorry, another time maybe. This is important. I slide back into my chair in a net. And now I'm getting poked with a stick. She even thinks it's important to poke me with a stick. Important. Me. Once the other teacher is gone, Miss Rochambeau turns back to me. She says things, but I'm not listening. No one has ever connected me with important. The things that they want me to do are important. Do my homework, bring a pencil, wear sneakers for PE. But this somehow feels different. Ms. Rochambeau has stopped talking and is looking like she's waiting for me to say something. When I don't, she says again, Zoe, what kind of person do you want to be? I stare down at my notebook. What am I supposed to say to that? I don't know, I finally mumble. I wait for Ms. Rochambeau to say that's okay because I don't know. Almost always gets a teacher to move on, but she doesn't. Instead, she stares at me harder and finally says, then I'm glad you have some time right now to think about it. I shift in my seat. Here, she says, stand up. I want you to come over here. She goes over to her desk in the front corner of the room and starts clearing off the top of it. She moves a pile of paper to the top of the filing cabinet and then pulls out a cushy rolling chair. Come sit, she says. At your desk? She nods. I want you to imagine you're an adult, and I want you to picture the life you want to have. Oh, and hold on. She bends down and rummages in one of the cupboards behind the desk until she pulls out a bag of pretzels. Good, hard thinking is always a lot easier with food. I slowly make my way toward her desk. When I finally reach the cushy rolling chair, I look up at her. Really? Really, she says. I sink down into it. I rest my arms on its armrest. I lean my head back. I survey the classroom like a kingdom. Like all those hard plastic desks are my kingdom. I lean forward and take a pretzel. I'm ready to start telling myself a story about the pretzel-eating queen when Miss Rochambeau takes a seat in the front row of student desks. Does it feel different there, she asks. I nod. I take another pretzel. Good, she says. That should help. Sometimes the walls of the hole are too close for us to see anything else. I stop eating the pretzel. Are you saying I'm in a hole? Ms. Rochambeau doesn't move. Do you think you're in a hole? I feel my brow furrowing against my will. I need to be an expressionless wall that things just bounce off of, like Silas. Or, even better, so slimy that things slide right off, like any good octopus. Because if people see that I'm getting to you, if people see that they're getting to you, they'll never let up. Of course not, I say quickly. I try to pretend that things are so easy right now that I could never even consider my life as a whole, because it's like beautiful, flat, easy walking ground all the time now, right? Maybe some bumps along the way, but that's just like the beautiful rolling hills they show on ads to remind people that they should come to Vermont for vacation. You know that ACE period debate club is ending and a new rotation starts next week, right? I do know that. Of course I know that. But since I don't usually listen to the teacher, that makes sense. Miss Rochambeau leans forward. The real debate club is going to be starting after school next week, and I want you to be a part of it. Because I've done such a good job during ACE period, the crack slips out before I can stop it. But Miss Rochambeau doesn't flinch. She just keeps staring me down. She can't be serious. But after school, I need to pick up your brother and sister, right, she says. What time does the Head Start bus drop them off? About 3:55. Great. Debate club goes till 3:30, and then I can give you a ride right to the bus stop. I've checked to make sure that I could legally drive a student, and as long as your mom gives consent, it's fine. She'd be willing to be my personal driver? It's mind-blowing enough that I can almost forget that we're talking about staying after school for debate club. Almost, but not quite. We'll meet every day after school except for Tuesdays when there's a faculty meeting. The tournament is at the beginning of March. She gives me a hard look. I look away. Zoe, only you can choose what kind of person you want to become. My eyes drift to the tops of the trees. I can see out of the window. Bare branches, gray skies, nothing else. I assume I have a choice, I say. Miss Rochambeau practically leaps out of her seat. But you do have a choice. You make choices every day. And maybe you can't see how they could affect your future, but they do. She is quiet for a moment as she stands there. I want you to know, she finally continues, that I was the first person in my family to graduate high school and go to college. Since life isn't fair, it's often up to us to balance it out. I look at her. She's looking back at me like she's trying to explode me with her eyes. What made the difference for me, she says, was the advice someone gave me back when I was in middle school. I still don't believe she was like me. It wasn't fair and it wasn't easy, she continues, but it was the only way forward if I wanted a future for myself. I want to look away, but I also want to know what they said. What was it? She chews on her lip without taking her eyes off me. I'll tell it to you, and then I'm going to leave you alone for the rest of the period, okay? Are you ready? She asks. I nod. You sure? I nod again. Well, here it is. She stands up. Suck it up. And then she picks up a folder of papers and walks out of the room.